It could be. The Blue Apron Cooking Show. Take 1 of 1. Oh, hey, come on in. Perfect timing. I was just getting ready for dinner.
Great.
What do you have?
Oh, some wine for the dinner.
That is perfect. Let's see what you have here. Get myself tied up here. Oh, this will be fantastic with dinner. Awesome. A nice deep red wine to go with this roasted chicken that we're going to have tonight. I hope you're hungry.
So hungry.
All right, let's get started here. All right, first of all, representing KC Royals, world champion baseball team. All right, first thing, let me just tell you, our meal today is coming from Jeremy Ford, who won season 13 of Bravo's Top Chef. It was his winning dish, and they've altered it just a little bit so that we can have it here in the home. It's going to be really exciting. Let me show you all the ingredients that we have here. We've got a navel orange. We're going to do several things with this, multiple uses. We've got our collard greens as well. We don't need all of these collard greens. We need most of it. We don't want to waste a lot of ingredient, but we need most of it. A little rosemary, and then you'll see some more things as we go along. But the first thing is today we're going to roast the chicken, like I said, as well as our mixed mushrooms. So we're going to have to start our oven right now. Something really screaming hot, like 475 degrees. Takes about 20 button pushes in my oven. There. Fingers all worn out. All right, so now we have to wash and dry the fresh produce. Make sure that you wash and dry is the key thing there. You want it to be clean, but you want it to be dry because you don't want soggy anything. Maybe cereal, but we're not making cereal today. I like soggy cereal. All right. Also, one quick thing. The mushrooms. Never put your mushrooms under the faucet when you're washing them. That's not what washing your mushrooms mean, because mushrooms are they will absorb any liquid. That's why when you cook them in butter, they are so delicious and buttery and smooth and silky, because they absorb that butter really, really easily. So if you put them underwater, what are they going to do? They're going to be watery mushrooms. Who wants watery mushrooms? Anybody? Anybody out? No, nobody wants watery mushrooms. Did you hear those crickets? So the best thing to do is instead, just take a damp paper cloth, paper towel, and just paint away. Paint away. It's very therapeutic. Such as is cooking for me. I'm a teacher, and so after a very rough day of teaching inner city middle school students mathematics, which is not very important to them, I gotta tell you, it should be, but it's not. Cooking is very therapeutic. And we should open this bottle of wine that you brought for us, don't you think?
Absolutely.
I think that wine is just like cooking, is a multi-sensory experience. Okay? Think about all your 5 senses when drinking wine. Obviously, there's the flavor, very complex flavors, the tannins, whether it be hot or cold, if it's a warm or room temperature red wine, or if it's a cool Chardonnay. And then you've got your sense of taste. You've also got your sense of touch when you're holding it in your hand. Here's our wine glasses. You obviously have your sense of sight when you're seeing this deep red color, or even sometimes when you're drinking a white wine, you can see the butteriness that comes through. You can see how thick it is and it's vibrant. And also, whenever you're talking about touch, then you've got the tannins on the side. Your tannins are from those skins of the grapes, and the thicker they are, this is something that's important to me, the thicker those tannins are, the higher the alcohol volume. So just keep that in mind. If you have some really thick tannins, you might just want to have 3 glasses instead of 6. Okay? And if you're not a wine connoisseur, if you haven't swiveled your wine around very much before, then instead of trying to do it in your hand, in which case it might come out of the glass, how embarrassing, especially at a fancy dinner, just keep it on the table like that. Are you seeing that? And then just swivel it around right on the table. Look how fast that's going. Look how vigorous that is. You're releasing all of those flavors. You're letting it breathe, and then it's going to be really It smells so good. But like I said, wine is a multi-sensory experience. So you also, believe it or not, you need to finish off those senses. Have we heard anything yet? Haven't heard anything yet. You know why? Because we haven't toasted. Cheers. To roasted chicken and wild mushrooms. I'm holding my wine by the stem right now. You don't have to with red wine because it's already a warm ingredient. But definitely if you're having a white wine, make sure you hold it by the stem. You don't want to jeopardize the flavor and the texture and the temperature of your wine. Okay, so let's go back to preparing all of our ingredients. First, we're going to start with our collard greens. Look at this thick stem here. And by the way, magic of television, since we started here, everything's already been washed. It's simply magical. I promise there isn't an already finished dish in the oven though. So what we're going to do is, if you see the stem here, the stem is very rough texture. We don't want that, so we're just going to slice it off like that. Does your knife not slice through things very easily? If that's the case, make sure, and you can just, here, I'll show you what I have. We've got a knife sharpener. Very important tool for any kitchen. Okay, maybe $10, but just a couple slices through there every week or so, that's going to sharpen your knife. Or, on the other hand, if you prefer, you could just have a knife like my brand, which I prefer, is Cutco. Okay, favorite knife. Not only because of the handle, but because it's always sharp. Actually, listen to this. No, listen. Do you know what that is?
That is a...
It's not an A, it's a B sharp. You know why? Because the Cutco, always be sharp. And this, just throw it on the ground. Whatever you want. It's green, it belongs on the ground, like grass, right? We're just going to cut these off. It doesn't take much. I mean, we're going to waste as little as we possibly can, but we're not going to spend 3,000 hours not wasting it. So, quick little slice. And there you have it. Now we've got these. All right, so first for our roasted chicken and mushrooms, we're going to take our collard greens. These will be used later. We're going to saute these. They're going to wilt down really nice, turn into a vibrant green, and become so flavorful. This recipe, by the way, is an invention of Jeremy Ford, who was the season 13 winner of Top Chef on the Bravo Network. This was actually the dish that he won with, and it's been adapted for Blue Apron, and that's why actually you're seeing me here today. We're just going to put our collard greens here. If you don't think you like collard greens, if you think it's not meant for you, please think again. There are so many different preparations of collard greens. Today, I'm not going to tell you what we're going to do. You're going to have to stay tuned because it is so good. Little clue though, here's a navel orange. With the navel orange, we're going to use this as 2 ingredients, even though it looks like 1, right? There's actually 2 ingredients here in any citrus, actually. First, the rind. Huge source of flavor. Huge source of fragrance as well. I'm just going to take, this isn't even a zester. What I'm doing right now is zesting. I'm zesting the rind, okay? But this is a cheese grater. You can get this anywhere. You can get, you can use, if you have to, you can use the edge of a knife and just go like that. Very dangerous. Watch your fingers, okay? I would use one of these or a zester. You could also use a peeler, like a vegetable peeler. That'll work as well. But you're going to have to really finely mince what you get out of there. Oh, April, do you hear that? Mm-hmm. You smell that? You probably don't hear it. You probably smell it more than you hear it. But the rind of any citrus is so flavorful, so vibrant, and it can bring out flavors of anything. Just make sure, look here, just make sure that if you get to something that's bright white, that's the pith. You don't want the pith. It is not, you also don't want the sticker, okay? Don't zest your sticker. Okay, you can put it on here and tell people you voted for oranges if you wanted. Okay, we're just going to keep going like this. And we want about 2 teaspoons, I think, in this case. A couple teaspoons. There we go. We've got about 2 teaspoons there. And that's going to be so much flavor to any ingredient. or to any dish. Now, oranges are not just breakfast food, ladies and gentlemen. They are not just breakfast food. They can be used for so much more. After all, this is a dinner, and we're using navel oranges in it. Like I said, I'm going to wait until the end to let you know what they're for, so you're just going to have to stick with me and stay tuned. Make sure, go ahead, peel your navel oranges, okay? You don't, like I said, the pith is that inner part that we hate. We love the rind, we love the zest, we love the inside, we hate the pith. That almost rhymed. Almost rhymed. Almost rhymed, okay? That's what we like to do. So we're just going to quickly peel this. Am I having a really easy time peeling? Yes, I am. That's because I quartered it first. So if you ever want to peel your orange, think about quartering it first. Just throw this right away. Alright, and for this recipe, we're just going to need to simply dice these up. Dice is a little bit bigger than mincing, okay? Mincing is whenever something gets really tiny. Dicing is a little bit bigger hunks. Who doesn't like a bigger hunk? So there we go. You know, going back to the sharp knife, you know, what's really important also about having a sharp knife is if you have a dull knife, think about it. If you accidentally cut yourself, then the dull knife is going to be tearing your skin apart. It is going to get an infection, maybe not heal for a long time. It's going to take a long time to heal. If you have a sharp knife, then if you do cut yourself, clean cut, it's going to heal really quick, especially if you add the trifecta, Band-Aid, Neosporin, and hydrogen peroxide. Just so you know, if you're interested in cooking for your life, you will need that trifecta available. Let's see, what else do we have to cook? We've already washed these, and by wash, remember what I said, we're not washing these mixed mushrooms. We are simply cleaning them dry with a wet cloth. Because if we don't, if we use water, they are going to be watery mushrooms. Do you hear that in the background? That is the oven being preheated. As I promised, it's not the magic of television. I don't already have something already cooked in there. This is real time. This is real life. Soon you will hear an ambulance or a fire truck or most likely a police car outside, because this is not a set, it's a real house of Kansas City, not of New York or Beverly Hills. Okay, while we're at it, I do want to let you know about Blue Apron brings these meals all the time. Look how beautifully illustrated this is. This tells us all about the background. In this case, it talks a little bit about Jeremy Ford, a little bit more background information. Jeremy Ford, when he was 16, here's the illustrated steps. Each step has multiple steps in there. But going back to Jeremy Ford, when he was 16, he started his experience as a chef, as a professional. He did some French cooking. If you know anybody who's done French cooking, that is a huge background to have. It is a huge skill. You can get anywhere with French cooking. I'm still working on getting to France. So I'll bring this back up. And I think we've cooked everything, prepped everything with the exception of our pepper and our rosemary. Rosemary is a very, very fragrant, if it's cooked, very fragrant and strong dish. Okay. Now you'll notice that rosemary has these sticks, these little stems, okay? And if you get super fresh rosemary, these sticks will be very sticky. Not sappy, but like, they're gonna be like a stick, okay? Nobody wants to eat a stick. So, all you have to do is you have to take your fingers at the top end of the rosemary and just pull them down, and there you are. You have your little pieces of rosemary. Make sure, here we are. Look how many leaves are on there right now. Look how many are on there, none. Now, none. Alright, so we've got all of our ingredients. And once we get all of these ingredients cooked up, we're going to go ahead and make sure that we get rid of our stems. We don't want our stems to be anywhere because they are not useful in any way. They're not as multifaceted, I guess I should say, as an orange, which you can use the rind for. So we're going to throw away these extra stems to make sure they don't get into our rosemary. And then finally, we're going to chop up our pepper. Alright, come up here. This is Chipotle pepper, okay? And it's in an adobo sauce. It almost smells like a Mexican barbecue almost. Who doesn't want to go to a Mexican barbecue? But inside these peppers, you will see, we're going to slice it really thinly. Inside these peppers, you will see the seeds, just like in a jalapeno. The seeds are what make it spicy. So, unfortunately, the pepper in the adobo sauce is very sticky. It's going to be hard to get the seeds out. So, sorry, it's going to be spicy if you put all of that in there. But that's fine. But if you're doing something like jalapenos, if you're having a tailgate and you want some cream cheese stuffed jalapenos with shrimp wrapped in bacon, something I do all the time, then you can just take the seeds out. And it's going to be more flavor and crunch from the jalapeno than spiciness. Okay? Now, the ingredients here, we're going to save this sauce. We're going to put this in our pan sauce later on. It's going to be a super inexpensive. Pan sauces are inexpensive because they use what you already have from an ingredient that you've already cooked, and they just sort of amplify it a little bit to make a sauce. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. It's going to be amazing. So now that the pan is over here, come on over. We are going to use this pan right here, and we are going to cook a little bit of oil on medium-high. Now, what I used to think was, here, zoom in on here. See how this says high right here? I used to think that this was high and this was medium-high. That has to be medium-high, right? Because it's just to the right of the high. That is incorrect. My boyfriend Derek actually taught me about a week ago, to tell you the truth, that the pan, you really need to look at the flame. You really need to look at how hot this pan is going to get, because it really depends on the size of the pan. If you are going to put a pan such as this size, you would not put this pan of this size right here, okay? Because it's too big. It's going to make the pan too hot. So really just look at what you think. Use some common sense there. And what do you think? That's high right there, okay? See how it's going down? That's medium-high. And in fact, in this case, it's level 5. So just use your common sense. What kind of heat, what kind of flame does your pan need in order to be the temperature that's specified? Okay, and all we're going to do is we're going to heat this pan up. We're going to add a couple teaspoons of oil. If you're familiar with Blue Apron, they love to add 2 teaspoons of stuff to things all the time. So 2 teaspoons is about a baseball, but hold on. We're not using this kind of an oil. This is always safe, great value, off brand. Not going to use it. We're going to use a fancy oil. Fancy oil will make the difference in every single recipe. So we're just going to put a couple of teaspoons, okay? A couple teaspoons, kind of looks like a thin layer, just like that, okay? And if you just pour it on the center, then it's going to look like an expanded baseball, maybe a softball size of oil. That's what 2 teaspoons will look like. Of course, you can just use a measuring spoon if you'd like. Alright, so we're just going to let that heat up for just a quick second. And this pan is for the rosemary. I love, 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 love. Here's our rosemary. Here's our rosemary. It looks just like a weed, doesn't it? Looks like small pieces of grass. But herbs, if you add them to just a little bit of oil, it doesn't take long at all. 30 seconds, 1 minute, and you will be able to smell. You will be able to smell the fragrance of the herbs coming out, of the spice, anything that you add to the pan. So, seems like it's hot. If you don't know, just put your hand right into the oil. Just put your hand right on there and hold it there for about 10 seconds, okay? And if you can, then please call me. We'll make a lot of money. Okay, so we're just going to throw that in there. That's all we need. Okay, and like I said, this is going to take about 30 seconds to sizzle up. It's not going to take very long at all. As soon as you as soon as you smell the fragrance of that herb, whatever it is, it will be obvious that it is ready to be taken out. Okay, and you'll notice that I'm using a wooden spoon here because just like wine, cooking itself is a multi-sensory experience. You see the beautiful colors forming on the plate. Okay, you taste all the different complex flavors. You can feel the cantaloupe to see if it's ripe. You can feel the firmness of the mushrooms that we're about to roast. All these different things come into play. You can hear the sizzling of the rosemary in there, can't you? What you don't want to hear is the sound of metal on a metal pan. So yes, we're going to just use a wooden spoon. And oh, there it is. There it is. Do you smell that, April?
Oh, yes, I do. It's amazing.
It's just rosemary and a little bit of oil. That's all it is for about 30 seconds to a minute, and all those flavors will come out. The rosemary, as it dries on this paper plate, as the moisture soaks through, later on this rosemary is going to get nice and crispy and crunchy almost. It's going to make a nice accompaniment to the surprise dish that I've told you multiple times you have to wait to hear about. So, alright, now that we've got the rosemary, we're going to move on to our chicken. Just like watery mushrooms, we don't want watery chicken. So, whenever you get your chicken, whether it has the skin on it, whether it doesn't have the skin on it, you need to pat it dry. Make sure. And you see how all my fresh ingredients are way over there? Hello, fresh ingredients way over there. They have to be kept very, very separate because you do not want cross-contamination. The worst thing that you can do, and take it from me, the worst thing you can do is have a beautiful, delicious meal for your guests and then them have a stomachache or worse afterwards. Okay? So just take it from me. Make sure that you do not cross-contaminate. In fact, we're going to have to wash our hands as soon as we're finished with this. In fact, I'm just going to wash my hands now. You don't want to take any chances. It doesn't take long to wash your hands. It takes about that length of time. If you have an apron, you can just feel yourself up and down. Okay? Kill two birds with one stone. Oh, let me introduce you to my two favorite ingredients besides wine. Where's my wine? We're not pausing for real. Pause for wine sippage. You are a wine connoisseur because that is delicious. Alright, so my two favorite ingredients in the kitchen are salt and pepper.
I don't have an opinion on that.
That was somebody else. You'll get introduced to her soon. My two favorite ingredients in the kitchen are salt and pepper. And a lot of people don't know exactly what the uses for salt and pepper are, okay? Salt and pepper, if you add it to something after it's been cooked, yeah, it's going to make it salty and peppery. However, if you add salt and pepper throughout the process of cooking, in between steps and in between recipes as you add something else, then it doesn't add saltiness and pepperiness. The salt and pepper simply brings out the flavor, okay? And if you want to be even more consistent with your salt and peppering, up here. Just sprinkle it down from way up high. And then if you have some salty dishes, that's going to keep that from happening. Alright, so here we are. We're going to take that oil that we have from the rosemary. We're just going to use it. We're not going to waste it. That oil has so much flavor in it from the rosemary right now. We're just going to use it again. Where's my heat? There we go. And we're just going to heat this back up. And since the pan's already fairly hot, we're not going to have to wait very long. What we're going to do is we're going to roast the chicken in the oven pretty soon. But what we need to do is we need to start the chicken with a crispy skin. Okay? And once we have a crispy skin, we can put it in there to finish cooking. And then that way the chicken doesn't get overcooked. It finishes baking in the oven. It's going to be a wonderful day. Yeah, it already is a wonderful day. I think that's about ready. Let's put our chicken in. Now you see how I've used this wooden spoon? I'm going to have to wash it. Okay? Now, if I was done cooking, would I be able to put this just in the dishwasher and just cook it? Absolutely not. Because what happens with wood, if you're deciding to use wood, is in the dishwasher it's so hot. Hundreds of degrees in there. Well, about 200 degrees in there. And what happens to wooden utensils, sorry, do you just love that sound? Oh. That smells so good. Don't eat it now, though. Okay? You'll get sick. But if you're putting a wooden spoon in there, then the temperature is going to cause the fibers in the wood to extract, okay? And then any bacteria that might be in the dishwasher is going to get into those crevices, and then when the dishwasher ends, they're going to be stuck in the crevices forever. You're going to have bacteria, and it's just not going to be a good thing. Plus, your wood is going to get all warped. Who likes warped wood? Nobody. So we're going to just use this and make sure, like I said, when we wash it, it's hand washing only. It doesn't take long. Bam. And I've got a clean spoon I can use again. Now that's just going to cook the skin on there for about 5 more minutes. So about 6 minutes total on medium-high. And turn it down a little bit. Just use your common sense. If it sounds too loud, if there's too much smoke, if you have a bad feeling, turn the heat down, okay? Because it's all about the pan, it's all about the flame. It's not about a certain setting or about a certain amount of time. It's about what needs to happen. So next, we need to go ahead and prepare our roasting dish while this is happening. So we're going to roast 2 things today. We're going to roast our beautiful mixed mushrooms that Blue Apron sent. This reminds me of last year. I found, actually for the first time, I found morel mushrooms in my backyard. It was awesome. And those are pretty expensive. I only found about 4 or 5, so I didn't sell them. But they look kind of like a brain. A morel mushroom. You know, people go hunting for those all the time. They look kind of like a brain. Really wrinkly. And yeah, you can just add some butter to those guys and saute them. It's like regular mushrooms, and they are fantastic. Alright, so we're going to have our mushrooms over here. We're going to consolidate our dishes. We don't need 2 different dishes. There's no reason to have 2 different dishes. We're going to consolidate our dishes, and then we're going to put our chicken over here. Now I want you to notice what I have my mushrooms on. Okay? This is a wax paper. Okay? This is parchment paper. Parchment paper is in the wax paper and aluminum foil aisle. Okay? But nothing will stick to here. So if you're ever going to put something in your oven on a sheet pan or something like that that would require butter or grease or something like that to keep the sticking from happening, just use parchment paper, okay? Because you'll save the calories, you'll save the time, you'll save the money, and then let's say you're just toasting up some bread and you need a sheet pan, put it on parchment paper. When it comes out, take it off, throw it away, you don't even have to wash the dish. Okay, just a couple more minutes over there. While we wait a couple more minutes, we're just going to simply dress our mushrooms. You want to get dressed, mushrooms? Okay. We're going to dress them with a little olive oil. There we go. Don't overdo it with the olive oil. I may have a little bit. Don't overdo it with the olive oil. They'll get soggy and gross, and then you'll be able to taste just the oil. Fortunately, you're using a top-notch oil, right? But even so, you don't want to overdo it because you want those flavors of the mushrooms to come out more than the oil. The oil is supposed to be an accompaniment, just as this salt and pepper is. Now, is this salt and pepper going to make our mushrooms salty and peppery? No. It's going to bring out the flavor of the mushrooms, rather, okay? Because it's in between steps. So don't be afraid. It seems like we're adding a lot of salt. If we do it at the end, add all that salt, yes, it's not going to be what we want. So our chicken is just about done. Our mushrooms are finished. Our oven is preheated. We're about to put this in the oven right now. Yep, it's looking good. All right. We're back. I just finished a bottle of wine while you were gone, and I'm about to fill this one up. And you might even be able to hear that delicious sizzling sound of the chicken that's in the oven, as well as those mushrooms just cooking away. Got about 9 more minutes on there. We're going to start making the sides. So if you've been anxiously anticipating what the hell that orange is going to be for, even though an orange is normally for breakfast, then you're about to find out. But first, let's grab a ton of ingredients. Where's my scoop? Here it is. I'm going to scoop up about half my orange. There we are. I'm going to scoop up about all of that. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, God. Look at this beautiful zested orange. It smells so amazing. And then going with this, it is going to be just perfect. So we're going to add that. We're going to add this. We're going to add all these things. And you know, let's go back to Blue Apron for a second. They really make it easy on you. Look how on this recipe sheet you can see the various bolded words. The bolded words are all the ingredients. So it draws your attention to exactly what you need to add and when. And in this case it says half the orange. Okay? If it wasn't bolded, I would forget. I'd put all the orange in there and that would ruin the topping, which we'll talk about later when we're talking about the topping. So collard greens, orange zest, got it. Check. Half the orange and a 1/4 cup of water. Now, whenever you're doing your measuring cups, make sure that you have a measuring cup where the measurement is engraved or ingrained somehow. Otherwise, through several vigorous dishwasher cycles, it's going to be worn off. And obviously the smallest one is the 1/4 cup, the next one is the 1/3. Some people don't know that, and honestly, I don't really want to think about it every time. So, just make sure that you have some nice quality measuring cups. Also, oh God, look, it's spraying all over the place. If you want to reduce something spraying out at you, just let the water barely touch the side. Look at this. It's barely filling up, okay? That's the best way to do it. Now, if you live in California or somewhere that has a shortness of water, then maybe you don't want to do that because I just wasted a lot of water. But I take 30-minute showers as well. So, I was supposed to think that. So, now that this is heating, the oil is heated back up. Now, this is the same oil that we used for, what did we use this for? We used it for the rosemary, right? This is the same oil for the rosemary. It's got all that rosemary flavor. I think I may have said that earlier already. We're just going to add all these things. Listen. Listen to this sizzle. Oh, did you see that pop out of there? Where's my wooden spoon? Okay. What do we do in between steps? We add flavoring. This isn't salt and pepper if it's between steps. This is flavoring. Bam. There we go. Now you're going to gradually see these collard greens, which are a kind of faint, hazy green. They're going to quickly turn bright green. Look at this. Look how bright these collard greens are now. Bright and green. That means that you've got a lot of flavor coming out. And what we're going to do is we're just going to let that water that we added simmer and boil and evaporate off. And whenever it's evaporated off, that means that this dish, which is the side dish, is complete. Okay? Please do not rely on the temperature of your stove. Don't rely on the amount of time that it suggests. Please don't. Use your common sense, because sometimes your oven is really new. Sometimes your stove is really old. It might take longer or less amount of time, depending on if your house is slanted, like mine is sometimes. Everything's going to be off kilter. So just use your common sense. Whenever that water is evaporated, your dish is done. Whether the time is done or it's not, your dish is going to be done. So we're just going to let that simmer there for a second. Okay? And that's just going to take a few little moments. And then we're going to set it into a bowl on the side. Preferably in a warm place. I like to use the microwave just because it's above the stove. So it's in a naturally warmer place, and if you put it in there, then it's going to stay warm. One tip, don't forget it's in there. It's a very important part of your dish. Okay, while that's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and make the topping, okay? The topping to my dish is going to be, finally, we can use our oranges. Where's my scoop? My ever-precious scoop. Finally we can use our oranges, and I didn't mean orange, I meant rosemary. Finally use the rosemary. Now look at this rosemary. This is what we cooked earlier, okay? Remember how flowery and fragrant it is? We're gonna crunch it. And we can just crunch it like that. Look at that. That means it's crispy. That means it is ready to go. Get every little piece. Look at that rosemary oil. That is so good. Oh. I wish I could do something with this. I'm just going to put it there for now. Alright, so all we need to do is we need to put this in here together. A little salt, a little pepper, bring out everything. Use a little spoon. And then we're going to toss and drizzle with some oil. Drizzle with that nice high quality oil that you have. Oop, get in there. What? It's so fragrant. Again, you can, if something gives you some sort of an aroma, you know it's going to be good. You know it's going to be good. Just don't eat it. Just don't eat it right away. Let it set. Let the flavors meld. Everything will come together. That's why I'm making it while that's cooking. Okay. Back to here. Look how green this is. Look how green that is. Oh my gosh, that is going to be so good, so full of nutrients. Who likes collard greens? I don't really like collard. Yes, I do now. I mean, depending on how you cook something, it is amazing. And this is going to be amazing. That roasted chicken is almost finished. Let's check on it. It's about done. We're going to take it out. Now, chicken isn't the only thing you have to roast. You can roast anything, okay? You can roast, I love to roast root vegetables. You can take a sweet potato. You don't have to peel it. You don't have to wash it. You don't have to do nothing with it. You can just take an old sweet potato, slice it like this so that you get little coins, okay? A sweet potato, a beet, a carrot, a potato. I already said potato, but any kind of potato. Anything that is roastable you can roast. Just make sure that you put it on a sheet pan. That means our chicken is done. And stop. Okay. You can roast anything. All you have to do, drizzle some oil over it if you want. Toss it thoroughly to coat. Add some salt and pepper. Once again, to bring out the flavor. And then cook it, depending on the vegetable, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, maybe less than that. But you can roast anything. You can roast anything. A sweet potato costs what? 68 cents. And if you slice a sweet potato on a bias like this, diagonally, then you can serve 3 people, 4 people as a side dish almost. At least 2 people with 1 sweet potato. I mean, that is more bang for your buck. That is for sure. We're going to take this off the heat. That's about finished there. How do I know? Not because the directions said 4 to 6 minutes, but because the water is gone. If you keep cooking it, even if your time isn't finished, then you are going to burn your greens. Who wants to burn their greens? Not me. By any means, burn my greens. So, I'm going to just toss this in a little bowl. Any bowl will do. Any bowl will do. Let's go back to that parchment paper. Now, I said that parchment paper is better than a lot of different things like aluminum foil. Now, if you want to keep heat into something, then aluminum foil is where it's at. So we want to keep our heat in. Like I said, put it in the microwave, which is already warm. That handle's kind of hot, because it is. And we'll just toss it over there. So, that's warm. Let's think about all the dishes we've got going on. Oh, time to take out our chicken. Oh my goodness. 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 I need to put this down before it burns. Smell it. Do you smell it?
Oh, yes.